good, YouTube? And one more question that I've been asked lately too, forgot to mention it live, is can I defeat Jake Paul in a boxing match if me and Jake were to ever step foot in a boxing ring, right? Now, I've told this story before that I actually, when Jake Paul was sparring a few boxers here in Buffalo a couple of years ago when he was first starting out, he asked people in the crowd if who would like to spar. I volunteered. He recognized me as Sifu Smo, and he didn't want to spar. He's like, "Oh, do you have any equipment?" And all my equipment was at the house. He's like, "Oh," I said, "No, I'll spar with 8-ounce gloves." And he's like, "Oh no," and he walked off, right? But the fact that Jake Paul walked off is no surprise because Jake Paul won't fight a real fighter or boxer, right? But to answer your question, listen, I would drag Jake Paul to the ends of the earth with my boxing skills and gloves, right? Like, I would finish that dude in not one round, but half a round. Like, I would toy with that dude in the boxing ring with my boxing skills. Like, I'm 3-0 in amateur boxing, and the boxers that I did box could have and might have be pro right now. That's how good they were. So yeah, listen, man. With my martial arts experience, I would toy with Jake Paul and Jake Paul, because listen, he declined to challenge me when I was in front of him. He know because he's seen me hitting the bag bare knuckle before that. He's like, "Oh, why are you hitting the bag bare knuckle?" I'm like, because that's what real fighters do. They condition their hands with and without gloves. Like, oh, I never hit the. He's like, "Oh, I never hit the bag bare knuckle in my life." I said, "I know, because you're not a real fighter." You know, it's like, I don't do that martial arts stuff, man. And I asked, I said, "Well, so how in the world would you defend yourself in the street?" He's like, "Oh, with my boxing skills." I'm like, "That only? Do you have any grappling, any ground takedown defense?" He's like, "Nah." He's like, "Oh, only pussies grapple." I'm like, "Oh, so that makes me a pussy then? My wrestling makes me a pussy?" I got up, I stood too far. He's like, "Oh, and he walked away. Then his bodyguards, they separated us. So listen, in the boxing ring, it wouldn't even be close. Like, my striking, you know. So yeah, I could defeat Jake Paul easily, you know.